Alright, in this lesson, we're going to look at passing props with class components. There will be a different syntax to learn compared to passing props with stateless functional components, and we'll add a little more complexity as we will see how we can use props to style our component along with returning a name as we did in our previous lesson. Let's go ahead and start with our code. In our section 5 folder, we'll go ahead and create an index2.html. In that file, we'll want to begin with our boilerplate code. You can go to the source code and grab that, or type it in by scratch. I'll go ahead and paste that in here. Great. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll go into our title tag in the head tag and change it to class components props. Now, let's go into the body of our document and create a class component that we can just go ahead and call person greeting. We can then go into our React DOM.render method and switch out our hello world placeholder with our person greeting component. Now, let's go into our person greeting component. We're going to see some significant differences in the syntax of passing props to a class component, but once we get past those, the concept will be the same. First, we'll notice that there is no initial place to insert the props object as an argument or parameter as we did with stateless functional components. So how do we take advantage of props with class components? Let's go ahead to our return statement and create a div tag and the text hello. Then we'll use an opening and closing curly brackets to insert our JavaScript expression we want to evaluate. In this case, it will be our props object. We'll access that props object with the this keyword .props.name. So at this point, our difference is not using props as an argument in the parameter and also the keyword this placed in front of props for the JavaScript object we want to interpret. Now, let's add a bit more complexity to this. Let's bring props into play in styling our component. We'll create a JavaScript object named personStyle, and we'll give it a few properties and values hard-coded of height 300 and width 300. Now, let's do a background color and set it to this.props.color. Now, let's apply the styling to our JSX div element. We'll set style equal to the object person style that we want to evaluate. Now, let's test out passing some values down the line. We'll input the property of a string for the color tomato and a name set to the value of the string of Jimmy. So if we have done this right, background color is receiving the value of tomato for this.props.color, and the this.props.name is receiving a value of the string Jimmy. Let's go ahead and open this up in the console to see what the results are. And there it is. Now, that took quite a bit of code as we saw in our last lesson. What if we wanted to say hi to Bill and Sarah as well, and give them styling without having to retype lines 24 through 35 with only slight variations in code? If you know how, go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. We'll go ahead with a possible solution in just a few moments. Alright, I'm sure you were able to get that. Let's go ahead and in our React DOM.render method, we'll make sure that our components are within a parent div element. Then we'll copy and paste our person greeting component a couple of times. In our second component, we'll change color to blue and name to Billy. Then, in our third component, we'll change color to green and name to Sarah. Again, now with props, we're able to harness the power and the work of all of this code we have written, and in one line, we can render it to the DOM. Let's go ahead and take a final look and see the results. All three of our names are different and our background colors have changed. We'll go ahead and see you in the next lesson.